feathers in the wind. Do you think about making up or what we could have been?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Elite Invite here in the beautiful surrounds of Leuven in Belgium. Open action with Mooncatchers taking on Chevron Action Flash. And it's a clean hole to begin for the men from Moon. Alessandro De Luca finds Sophie Bonton to put them in a 1-0 advantage. Benjamin Rees, delighted to be here with you for our first open round of the day. And the wonderful Hannah Pendlebury sitting alongside me. Hannah, I was going to ask if you were excited about this matchup as I am, but I know you are because we talked at length about it this morning.
We did. Yes, sniffling alongside you as well. Have a little bit of residual post-tournament flu in the shape of the Tom's Tourney lurgy, which of course, you expect to happen on the fields out in Bruges. A couple of Brugsots, it's a vibe, and it's a vibe that we're very much here for. So apologies for my slight nasalness this morning, folks. But very excited to see Moon's O-line come out again. Of course, they had that absolute thriller game to finish Tom's Tourney. Won't necessarily spoil the result, but let's just say it was certainly a very interesting affair. And talking to Coach Pierre Alain after that game, actually wishes that the O-line had made some more mistakes earlier in the game, because they went from an 100% O-line conversion to a very different story by the end of that matchup against La Fotta. But Chevy now got a slightly more well-tooled roster as well than they had at Tom's Tourney. Some absences due to work commitments, so let's see what they can do full flush out here against Moon. Yeah, first time we're seeing the O-line take the field, and here's one of their new pieces, the youngster from the South Coast, Cody Elliott-Edwards, who was so impressive for GB Under-24 Open last year. Not going to mention where he went to uni, because obviously the fact that I'm bringing that up means that everyone knows it was Sussex. Oh no, I let it out. Now towards the far side, a bid comes through. Not quite there, and then the high release over the top, just about squeaks it. Well collected, but trying to trap them on that line. Josh Kime wants a reset, but instead they're just going to go a little bit shorter to Cam Weir. Now Kime back to Weir, who's opened up a little more lateral space for them. Out in front, the lefty Weir finds Sweetnam. Almost pendulumic in the backfield, just going side to side, and lacking a little bit of penetration here. Griddle, central, and it's greedily gobbled up there by Gaiten Vandenbroek. Came out of nowhere and just flashed a hand in and gets the turn. Such a defensive live wire for them is Vandenbroek. Yeah, I think Chevy may be getting a little bit sort of lackluster, being very patient, but perhaps a touch bored.
Demarais on the far side, looking for an underneath option, maybe pinged that one a little bit too hard, as it's in and out of the hands of Jérôme Derrida. So second chance on this point for Chevron to get on the board. Sweetnam runs a little 1-2 with Criddle, begins to clear out. There's a swing open to the metronomic Hodgett. Hodgett opens it up, a little bit of inside-out shape on the backhand. Got a target he likes deep, but a really good bracket applied there by the dual defense from Mooncatchers. Looks like they had Betrancourt, the still relative newcomer to the sport, but one of the breakthrough defensive talents last year, being one half of the sandwich, the big Latvian Tom Zabeltinch on the other end, and he starts it by getting the inside shot, and now they're looking downfield. Demarais, we know he's capable of the spectacular. He chased it down well, and it came out of his hands. Didn't maybe go for the full effort bid because he's got such speed that he didn't need to. And that's a tough catch, but we've seen Dan Demarais make that catch time and time again.
And on home soil, no less, of course. Dan Demarais, an OG jet set athlete. Certainly enjoyed watching him this time-ish last year. Spring Invite, the first ever tournament that the local scene here had hosted for the European Ultimate Federation, and we enjoyed it so much that they got awarded this bid for Elite Invite.
It's a lovely little complex here in Leuven. Beautiful city as that one tried to squeak it down the line. No space to work with, and it's picked up by, is that Paul Arters I spy? It is indeed. Chicago Paulie's come over for Toms and for Elite Invite.
Yeah, sneaking over to the D-line as well.
That one was trying to fizz it in, and did Hodgie get a piece of it? He certainly did enough to prevent it going to hand. Certainly this high point's been a lot more of a struggle for Chevy than it was for Moon. Now Cam Weir trying to put it on a rope. Oh, in and out of the hands of Elliot Edwards. Demarais put just enough pressure, and Elliot Edwards has his hand up in apology.
Yeah, it's really interesting because actually you didn't really see Elliot Edwards make any errors at Tom's tourney in the end zone. Extremely reliable. Most of Chevy's O-line points seem to go his way or Cameron Weir. But of course, as we mentioned already, there are a couple of extra pieces in the puzzle for this Chevy side. Of course, rightly prioritising Elite Invite over Tom's tourney.
Moon working their way laterally across the field. Derrida just studies himself and avoids getting a bump on the way through. Low, but picked up by Demarais. And a stoppage downfield, a pick, I think, in the centre.
A welcome break for all the athletes, I think. Lots of folks bent over. This is turning into quite the elongated point.
Mooncatchers looking to wrestle an early advantage over their English opponents. Artist tracks down well. Now putting a little bit of float on it. Criddle was there. I thought originally it was actually for Abeltinge on the up line. He pulled out, but Criddle did the right thing. Didn't leave it to chance and was there to smother it away.
Yeah, long time Air Badger and Devon player before starting his career with Chevron Action Flash for Criddle.
One of the things that Chevron have done well over the past few years is really collecting those youngsters in the UK. You come through the various kind of storied school programs, your Air Badgers, Evolutions, your Fluxes, and integrating them into part of the setup. This time Sweetnam absolutely bangs it. He wants Elliot Edwards again. Usually such a reliable deep threat. That time too much pressure from Betancourt, especially with the disc fading out of that far sideline. They haven't quite found the range on those.
Which is surprising, Benji, because the wind just has not arrived today in Leuven. It is exceptionally calm conditions. As this one goes, well, this is about an 8-minute long point now. Yeah,
it's turned into a bit of a meat grinder, I think it's not unfair to say. Maybe that's not unexpected. First game of the tournament, you know, I think everyone is well aware of the quality of competition here, that it can take a little bit of a while to settle down and get into a rhythm.
Well, it's a relatively young O-line for Chevy. Lots of athletic people who can play defence and recover points.
Paul Arters has Jan van den Broek coming underneath a little bit low, gets the hand underneath it. Sees the seam for the inside window through to Abeltinge. Break continues to Demarais. And Demarais says, enough of this, let's get ourselves sorted out and we'll take the time out. Seems to make a lot of sense to me. Lacking a little bit of rhythm, both Chevy's O-line and Mooncatchers D-line. We'll see whether they can get themselves sorted when we come back. Open division action here from the elite invite in Leuven, Belgium. 8 of Europe's best in the women's, in the mixed and in the open divisions, going at it hammer and tongs. And it's open division action for you now. The first open games of the day. We've got Mooncatchers versus Chevron Action Flash. Mooncatchers with a 1-0 advantage and looking to break here to take a 2-0 lead. It's Benji Rees alongside Hannah Pendlebury.
Yeah, what is the current turnover tally in this point, Benji?
4 for Chevy, 3 for Moon, so back of the napkin maths, that's 7 overall.
I'm glad to see that the British school system was able to instill the basic arithmetic in you, Benji.
Unfortunately, I learned that all at home. I learned nothing at school. Nothing. That one all just about to démarrer. Elliot Edwards breathing down his neck. That's a firepower matchup. And absolutely launching it, Bertrand Cour. I thought he was going to run out of room, but a tiny little bit of showboating at the end, and Mooncatchers bang their way out of it in typical Moon fashion. That's a break. It's 2-0. The timeout works a treat.
It really did. Just something to kind of settle and perhaps discuss a play that they wanted to run. That one seemed a bit more like it. Bertrand Cour just using that speed. You can really tell, especially in this Belgian side, a couple of these athletes, the way that they move are ex-soccer football players. Of course, we back home just call it football, and most of Central Europe too, but just in case, just to clarify, we do mean the beautiful game. One
of the beautiful games.
I
will say, watching these sides this weekend in full flow, it looks a mighty pretty game to me.
I'd give it a bigger compliment than that, is my thing, Benji. But no, nice to see that one though get finished off, and as a bit of a break, we're now going to see Chevy's second variant of their O-line. Some of the younger lads coming off in favour of more experienced hands. You've got Steve Colthammer and Callum Spears.
Yeah, Steve Colthammer, just the 41 years young now, but Hodgett is staying out there, as is Kime. They've got that big wide swing available, so why not take it? Kime putting a bit of air underneath it. Oh, defender closed the back door, did Bertrand Cour. It floated a little bit. Criddle tried to pluck it out of the air, but Bertrand Cour doing a very good job defensively there of just forcing him on that inside line and not letting the disc go to hand.
Yeah, really solid pressure. I mean, you know it's going to be a difficult matchup with Mooncatchers. They have a great pedigree coming off their last couple of campaigns, and they just seem to add more talent every year.
Another one of their young Italian starlets, Liam Crisafulli, to get the D-line going. Obviously, we've seen his teammate Alessandro De Luca on the O-line as well. Nicolas Hockey goes back to Crisafulli. Chevron doing a good job of being proactive and switching downfield to try and prevent those free players. It's a little slight misread on it, and that allows Camware to go up and get the block. Receiver slowed down, and Camware had a really good beat on that one. Hodgett has Spears, clears through. Kime with that low release to Colthammer. Colthammer uncorks it. We know he's got a big arm. He's looking for the back of the end zone. And unfortunately, it goes through the back of the end zone, and Criddle doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, that's such a shame. He had really fantastic separation. Just a little bit too much of spice sprinkled on the throw from Colthammer. But this is a bit more like it. But, I mean, dreamy position here for Mooncatchers. If you can keep Chevy's O-lines out this long on the pitch, you know, and grind them this hard early in the game, you're going to make yourself a very easy job of it later on. You see Deleuze there bringing the disc back into play.
Yeah, just checking the wind. There's maybe a breath, but nothing too strong at the moment. Sam Criddle provides a wall that Cedric Feller just can't quite get past instantly. Now on the sideline, Desmarais wants to find Deleuze on the up line, doesn't see it, instead swings wide central, and Feller goes to ground to make sure he secures it. The slightly piratical looking Hockey to Desmarais underneath.
Love seeing the matchup of Rodri Williams there. Of course, played under 24s and seniors last season for GB Open.
Nice quick disc movement, bouncing it 1-2. Not, I must say, too unlike East Block were in the first game of the morning. Nice air underneath that shot towards the far side. Desmarais down the line. Cedric Fella, the big bid comes in from Colthammer, was all over his back. Not sure I'm particularly enamoured with that from the veteran, but Cedric Fella, fair play. He sticks his catch, and that is another Mooncatchers break.
Well, it's thankfully in a bit faster fashion than last time. They don't have to try and expire a timeout again. Well, yeah, talk about a real match between two athletes there. Obviously, you can really easily see the height difference, but Cedric Fella is 15 years old.
I was going to say, I'm sure Colthammer's more than double his age. I couldn't quite bring it up quickly enough to check, but very much so. But hey, if you're old enough, you're good enough. That's what they say. And there's so much young talent that's come out of Belgium in the past few years, whether it's for Moon, for Gentle, for Jet Set. The youth development has clearly paid off, because not only have they made waves at the younger age divisions, but that's filtered through to the seniors as well.
And so some teams were perhaps a touch salty that Mooncatchers hadn't decided to use Tom's Tourney, because it's a EUF approved event, so you can elect for those EUF approved tournaments to count towards your EUCS ranking. Appease the almighty algorithm, get your 10 games in for the season in hopes of qualifying through to the EUCF championships later on this season. But Moon used last tournament to kind of try and bring in the younger talent, really sort of solidify them in proper in-game environments to their roster. And at the moment, Benji, I have to say that approach seems to be working out quite nicely. And we are nowhere near looking at the expected score difference at the moment.
Well, the most recent word from Ravi Vasudevan was actually that the expected score calculation might have a slight little bug in the system somewhere, but as it stands at the moment, it said 15 to Mooncatchers and 11.87 to Chevron. And yes, I know that you can't score fractional points, as that one put deep, just over the head of Fella. And Cody Elliott-Edwards, who has been such an engine for them downfield when he's been on the pitch, finally gets Chevy on the board.
Well, they say you make your own luck, but that one was a little bit luckier there for Chevron Action Flash. That one just sneaking over the fingertips to make it to Cody Edwards.
I think he might have actually got a tiny, tiny little piece, but evidently not enough.
Oh, well, you can still catch a little bit of friction while you sneak past something. You know, I could sneak past you in a corridor or in the night time like a cat burglar. But yeah, it's that little bit of touch wasn't quite enough. But this time, Elliott Edwards not being tested on his vertical battle. So we'll have to see if he can re-secure himself, as his reputation, as we already said, last tournament was all over the end zone for Chevron Action Flash. Yeah,
if you don't find a way to shut off that deep space for him, he will take it, and he will make you pay for it.
Interesting to see him coming across, of course. Last time we saw him in Leuven, it was playing with Smash D. But yeah, a couple of younger players coming through for Chev as well this season. We'll maybe get a chance to talk about some of them.
And that pull from Chevron, you could see what the plan was. Get the edge, take it back in bounds, but it never quite worked. And they're actually going to elect to take it from the brick mark here is Ben Yonkers. Side stack on this near sideline. Yonkers has Ben Ort on the isolation into the centre. Ort now to Karklinge. And already this seems like it hasn't missed a beat in the few points they were off the field. Blasman with one of those skyscraping around breaks to his long-time teammate Ben Ort, although two of them coming into the open division, not with Hrut, but switching to play Mooncatchers here.
I mean, if you get the invite, you'd be mad to say no.
I'll put out the word, see if they've got a space for me. Here's Blasman. He's got Ort wide open if he wants him, and he is going to take it after a beat or so. Ben Yonkers, of course, his older brother Ref, still not quite fully ready to go. Matthew Muller turns, isolates. Works it past Allen to Yonkers. Slashes across the field. DeLuca delivers. Looking for the low. Oh, he was not frustrated. He was frustrated that he did not see something he liked. That's a great catch from Alt, under really good pressure from Ben Hall. The two Bens going up against each other, and Alt with the simplest little flip in. And Blasman continues to stuff the stat sheet for Moon, just as he did for Chrit. That's 4-1 now.
It's really interesting to me, Benji. We've talked about the low, well, I mean, at this point, 0 win conditions. You'd be struggling to fly a kite at any point during the course of today, I'd wager. But in terms of the way that the Moon O-line was throwing at each other there, they still were putting so much pace onto every single throw, which to me speaks to the fact that they are perhaps mindful of what happened to them in their last game on our live streams as an Ulti TV outfit, certainly, where perhaps some of those throws were a little bit too soft, not quite making their receiver before the defender had a chance to intercept. But it also speaks to me of the fact that despite the fact that there is no wind right now, they are throwing as if there is a breeze. You put that pace on those discs, you really sort of launch them at each other. Yes, it maybe has the chance of bopping out, but every player watching the disc into their hands, and thus far, an O-line conversion record of 100% again.
Mooncatchers, one of their strengths as a side is that they are so consistent pulling the disc, and they force Josh Keim to catch right at the back of his own end zone. They have, however, just about escaped that front line. Hannum, just with a little pop backwards to Keim. That one's a riser, great catch by Elliot Edwards. Looking, I must say, way before his time with that 90s style mullet. Business at the front, party at the back, which you could argue is not a bad offensive system either, I guess.
And a solid description for Elliot Edwards, I'd wager.
Showing the hammer, he wanted it, but it wasn't there for Criddle. Keim finds the soft spot for Sweetenham. It's been a slow matriculation of the disc down the field. The bid from Veteran Court doesn't get there. I wonder if that will just increase that mental pressure. Keim follows through, Hannum instead. Wanted the give go backwards. Criddle to Colthammer just a couple of yards outside. Goes with the scuba over the top. The traffic drawn to the front of the end zone, and Elliot Edwards catches at the back, 4-2.
Yeah, just a compare and contrast moment for you. The disc speed of Chevy's O-line is probably about 2/3 of the speed of release and attack that some of the shots were coming out of Mooncatchers. As you say, there was that little moment of pressure where the bid, I think it was Betancourt, went for one. But at the end of the day, they held their patience, really good spacing there, and that was what opened up the opportunity for that soft scuba, making Cody Elliot Edwards' job exceptionally easy. And that's another stat for that mulleted man.
Yeah, you can just see that the sky's the limit for that kid. And I don't feel too mean calling him a kid.
I mean, he is a youngster, but compared to us, most people are, Benji, to be fair.
Hey, I'm not even master's age yet, thank you very much.
Oh, you're getting there. But yeah, 23 years young is Cody Elliot Edwards, and tempted across, you already mentioned it, Benji, he had a lovely performance for the under-24s division with GB last year in Nottingham, and that, I believe, is how he met many of these Chevy teammates and what tempted him away from the Smash D boys.
Huge pump fake from Ben Yonkers, but I think it's more to space the players out downfield more than an intended target. Oh, Wadri Williams read it well, flashed in there and just about got it clean in front of Ort. Really good reading of the play there from Williams. Chevy with a chance to earn one of those two breaks back. Martin Hall squeezes the inside through to Haynes, and Haynes spreads it across towards this near side. He's got Toby Nicholas, and Chevron's got a break.
Very nice work there. As you said, Rodri Williams with an absolutely fantastic read of the play to get possession for Chevron. So See him dancing there as well, trying to get the reset available. Nice quick movement as well. It looks to be the hat of, was that Robbie Haynes with the assist? Yes. Also a long-term junior. There's so many of these Chevron Action Flash players have had careers that have spanned juniors and then some. Not a team we talk too often about, but I believe it's Thundercatch was the name of the team that started the playing career of Robbie Haynes back in the day. A little lesser-known college over in Gosport.
No, I was going to say he's from my neck of the woods. He's not anymore because I live in the middle of nowhere. But
he's from our neck of the woods.
Yes, I have connections to that area.
Yeah, then you ran away to Wales.
I know, it's great.
Is there much ultimate scene where you are, Benji?
Not too much in the valleys. I guess Cardiff is probably my closest hub. I might start teaching the cats to play. Here's DeLuca. Having been broken, looks like Moon just sticking with it, sending the same 7 out there. Blassman powers up line. Demonstrative fake of a deep shot. But they're really zipping it around now. Yonkers has got the free bit. Has he? No. Rodri Williams again. Just saw the opportunity there. The poach came into the centre. Rodri Williams, head up, on a swivel, saw he could come through, lays out full extension to get the block. Chevy are making a game of this. Ben Hall, heavily tattooed, comes up line. Now on this sideline. Can they find the way through to bring us back on serve? Seb Allen, 2 yards away from pay dirt. Oh, the little offhand and some toe drag swag at the front of the end zone from Ben Hall as well. It's 4 apiece. Where's that come from?
It's come from the fact that I think Chevron Action Flash have finally found some snacks on the sideline. Maybe they just sort of, forgot their breakfast at the beginning of this game, but their D-line is starting to really fire things up here. Nice to see Seb Allen take the field. Always a joy to watch, but Rodri Williams has got the number. I think it's just a case of taking those opportunities where you see them. It's a bit of a gamble, certainly, if Williams ends up on the floor, usually taking one of the bigger matchups for this Mooncatchers O-line. But we know that Moon can recover, certainly.
I will say it's also really nice to see Ben Hall out there playing himself, because over the past few years he's been a huge influence coaching Bristol's women, and he was part of the leadership team for GB Open as well last year, even though again couldn't quite get out there on the field. And sometimes you forget what a dynamic player he can be.
And just such a nice person to just be around.
I must admit, I don't think I've spent any time with him whatsoever, but I've not heard a bad word.
Well, I mean, even just from having conversations and chatting, individuals, we really appreciate people that are knowledgeable but also open to talking to us as commentators about how things are going.
Yeah, because understandably sometimes you catch players, coaches during a tournament and they can be a little bit guarded about what they've got coming. Want to keep things close to the chest a little bit. A little no pivot backhand there from Mort. Demarais come over to play some offense. Blassman stretching it laterally to DeLuca. Chevy just forcing Mooncatchers back a little bit here. Not a huge amount going on downfield. This is what happens when you get a break or two. All of a sudden, there's a little less urgency in the cutting. There's a little less impetus. Nice left-handed grab there by Carclinch. Squeezing it through, or catches as he comes back towards the disc. Blassman's got a little seam down the sideline to Bon Tom, and the man was born to score. 5-4. Sorry, I was going to say, I think Bon Tom might be the best finisher in the game right now.
I can believe that. Of course, he exploded onto our screens back at the European Indoor Championships, where a certain Belgian team took a gold medal placement. But of course, Moon has got quite the heavy trophy cabinet at this stage. Of course, last season they fell at the final hurdle, but until that point pretty much cruised straight through the proceedings. But the disc speed starting to soften off a little bit. That kind of pass up line to Ben Yonkers sat And then the following one, you could actually hear from our booth the gasp of frustration from Robbie Haynes. He was very close to snatching that one out of the sky. Haynes, of course, another player also to talk about, folks coming back off the sidelines, making it onto the pitch. Another person lovely to have back on the field, because I know he's struggled with some injuries in recent seasons. So what happens when you play for over half of your lifespan, Benji?
Well,
it takes a bit of a toll.
Not just even in recent seasons, you know, all the way back when I started over a decade ago now. Jesus. He was a player who you could see when he was healthy what an impact he had, but unfortunately just has had rotten injury luck at various points. But change of defense now from Mooncatchers. Arrow heading up front. Chevron looking very unflustered right now, though. It's like the transitions come to going one-on-one. Spears giving some instructions to Elliot Edwards. Comes all the way back on this near side. And I think that's definitely where they'd prefer to have him, Mooncatchers. Sweetenham centres as Vandenbroek's out of position. Criddle back to Keim. Sweetenham's wide open, but Keim couldn't quite squeeze the throw through. Hodgett, did he grab that before Demarais got a piece? He thinks he did.
Well, maybe let's have another look at it while they discuss. Oh, lovely speed control. Good work, team. I think that's pretty close, don't you, Benji?
I'd have to look at it again.
Looks quite nice to me. But you know, D-line forever.
I see there's a big man to my... Oh, I'll tell you what, that really is close.
It's not how it looks, though. It is how it feels in the hands of Tom Hodgett. If he felt like he had control, that is the thing that matters here, but it looks very, very close.
That's so close. And I think he's saying, you know, maybe I didn't have full control of it. You can see that there's actually no contact on Hodgett from Demarais, and they do call it the turn, but absolutely, I think the right thing there. I'm not sure, call it, have the discussion, and then actually retract, turnover stands. Crisafulli wants to strike while the iron's hot. Why not when Demarais can pluck it out of the deep space? Stretching it across. Arters can't quite milk it in, and he slips as he catches it to Nicolas Hockey, but the catch sticks, and Mooncatchers reopen that 2-point lead.
Nicolas Hockey putting the little divot back in the pitch. Oh my goodness. It's really, really plush fields here in Leuven.
It's lovely, isn't it?
While talking to Max Vianney about the conditions here on the field in Leuven, he was saying that the groundskeepers, he asked them why on earth these pitches are quite so nice, because this is the Thursday. There are two weekly trainings for Jet Set. One of them happens at this particular field complex, one of them happens elsewhere, and they were talking to the greenkeepers and saying, why on earth are the pitches so much nicer? Because it really is just absolutely dreamy. It's like they've not been touched by human cleats before. But basically what's happened is that the season thus far in Leuven, the weather has been extremely inclement. So lots of matches have had to be called off due to adverse weather conditions, which is pretty much benefited the Ultimate community massively, because this is the first weekend we're getting beautiful conditions and weather, which means they are bouncy, they are plush, and they are perfect for sliding around in the end zone, as Nicolas Hockey just found out.
I mean, you can see, of course, the football pitch markings and the goals there, so which indicate what it's used for. But the football season's now ostensibly over, and I must say, the state of pitches I've unfortunately experienced this year, nothing really compares to this, except maybe way back in August. It's beautiful, and it's one of the reasons why I think why it makes such sense as a tournament venue. Here's Colthammer. Can change the angles with that lefty advantage. Criddle flips back to Spears, and Spears now to Sweetenham. Hannam's got lots of separation. Elliot Edwards powering underneath, but instead Sweetenham finds the little gap, and Sweetenham rushed the throw.
That is a very unfortunate error for Chevy. Starting to get a little bit of momentum going here in this game. But a spoil pass. player that is absent for Chevy that was really meaningful in their defence last weekend, Benji, is Rollo Sachs-Dixon.
He's a big man, and he's been a part of that setup for so many years. He's one of their leaders, but it doesn't really change the shape of the field almost when you've got someone who A, is that good in the air, and B, covers the ground so well too. Not just big, but mobile. Van den Broek and Hockey, nice little bit of bounce back between them. Hockey again. Curls it round to Deleuze. Okay, tries to find that space. And Deleuze, you see him draw Spears all the way around on the mark that opened the space for Abeltinge. Mooncatchers just taking their time. They want to make sure they can punch in this break because we've seen Chevy go on a three-point run already this game, so we know they can do it again. Oh, a little bit too casual. Abeltinge trying to connect with Van den Broek, and it's back in Chevy hands. Criddle opening it up, looking for Spears towards that far sideline, and the far sideline says no.
Well, I think the far sideline says, yes, I'm open, throw to me. But, yeah, not the best execution of that throw. I like the idea. I like that quick counter-attack. I mean, you don't need to play Huck and D in these conditions, but certainly yardage is good. And, yeah, just Mooncatchers D-line getting a little bit soft, and that flobbly disc that just almost magnetised its way into Steve Colthammer's hand.
That is, by the way, the first time we've seen Mooncatchers D-line turn the disc over. They were able to get it back. Abeltinge will pick up once more. It's become part of the furniture now at Mooncatchers.
Although his French is apparently not completely up to speed yet. But with the number of international players, they now only have practices in English, which was not the case the first year that the Latvians came across to play for this Brussels roster.
I mean, I'm sure his French is better than a lot of the Belgians' Latvian.
That's a fair point.
Okay, and fella, I mean, they're wide open, so why not just bounce it back and forth? Absolutely, good awareness. Love to see it. Deleuze has Abeltinge seeing traffic downfield, scythes the inside through, and Van den Broek. Now they've got the break side flow rolling, and they just about punch that one in past the defender. Hockey on the assist, and that is Guillaume Lejeune on the score.
What? Wow.
It's good, wasn't it? It was good.
I kind of deliberately lent into the miscuing from my own mouth, but that was quite the action man role. I mean, playing Ultimate in a bucket hat like that, you kind of look and you think, maybe it'd be kind of like chill, it's got trackies on. It's not the most like, I'm going to absolutely athletically ruin you type look. But the little 26-year-old Guillaume Lejeune started playing with Diabolic Heaven back in the indoors days, and as Jet Set chap as well, been playing for 10 years since he was 16, so picked up the sport in his teams. But yeah, absolutely just a spinning top in the end zone there. Excellent work to not get ground stripped.
And yes, you see on the back of his jersey, Fella, but that is because Arthur Fella still long-term injury, so
he was training though this week. We got a little.
Yes, you were doing a little bit of scouting and intel earlier this week in between Tom's and this weekend. So we went from Bruges to Leuven via a little stop off in Brussels.
It was fantastic. We got to enjoy the atmosphere, the Moon Cup Mooncatchers dual training session. But yeah, maybe on a pitch near you soon.
Hammer unleashes the space, and now Mooncatchers trying to get set back on again, leading Hodgett. Williams, who's been such a spark plug for them defensively, comes over to the O-line. Wanted it back, and he's going to get it as well. Hodgett wants the give go up line. Seb Allen again. Been Chevron for so long, and such a key piece for them. Allen finds the break side space, and Hodgett, well, normally he's a distributor, but in stride, in flow, in the end zone for the score.
Well, even if you're a handler, it's about adjusting, and if you have enough folks back, there's no point clogging up the space. You might as well go to the end zone where you can, that is where the goals are scored, so I believe. But that is really fantastic vision, in-flow work from Seb Allen to identify Hodgett at the back of the end zone. Hodgett, of course, wasn't there last weekend. I did my intel, Benji. I looked at the roster and said, there are some names here that are different.
I would expect to see that I am not seeing.
Yes. But, a couple of young chaps coming across this season. Unfortunately, no Ben Wilson. He's got a torn ankle.
Ouch.
So big shout out to him. But I'm also really enjoying some of the vibrant hair colours on this Chevron Action Flash roster.
Yeah, all au natural for most of them as well, I think.
Oh, 100%. We love to see it. Although hopefully they've applied their sunscreen, because our own red-haired wonder on our Alti TV cruise on setup day yesterday ended up extraordinarily pink for me.
Yeah, I can definitely foresee that. Stylish Alti TV sun hoodies at the ready. Trying to slow down this Mooncatcher offense and get it out of rhythm by playing some zone to start. But Carclinch lays one down the line for Yonkers. No continuation. Turner closes in, but still Ort gets it, and then gets it back from Bontemps. Oh, he's put a lot of air under this one, but there should be space for Matthew Miller. Oh, he misread it, and then it dropped down, and he made the adjustment for the score, and Mooncatchers will go into half with an 8-5 lead.
Yeah, all smiles for Muller. Such an enjoyable athlete to watch play. Really dominant for Mooncatchers in the end zone. Not one of the kind of, huge powerhouse names coming out, but just does such great work. Get a little bit of a finny there from the back of Robbie Haynes' head.
He's so consistent, is Muller, that he's just really helps things ticking over, and he does a lot of the unselfish work that maybe doesn't draw the plaudits of a Desmarais or a Bontemps or a Benort, but he really just keeps things working.
Indeed, and obviously originally from Flying Penguins back in the day before joining the fold of Jet Set, and now Mooncatchers. But of course, his career highlight so far is the gold medal last year, because he's on the open team for Belgium as well.
He was indeed. That open team captured gold over Great Britain in the finals, and of course some of these Chevy players might be holding that somewhere, have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder that they let that one slip through their fingers, but the Belgians were worthy winners out that week. And they'll look to follow up with more silverware here. 8-5 Mooncatchers leading Chevron at half-time.
Come on, break!
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my! Somehow they do it!
Mooncatchers 8, Chevron 5. Chevron getting the second half underway on offense. Benji Reese and Hannah Pendlebury here to bring you the conclusion of this one. That just was not there for Criddle, and Cedric Vella just couldn't quite believe his luck, I think. It's been an up and down game so far for Criddle, I think.
Oh, he was absent last weekend, so maybe just needs to take a little bit of time to get back into the rhythm of things.
Artis to Desmarais. Artis gets it once more. Desmarais going deep, and I thought the throw had sold him a little bit short, but this is Dan Desmarais we're talking about, and he throws through the contact and the foul quickly accepted.
And again, we get more delivery of this Elliot Edwards-de Marais matchup.
The deep throw was such a teaser because it was just over the hands of a couple of Chevron defenders, but neither of them could quite get that decisive fingertip. Reset to Abeltinge. Now, Deleuze. Quite a lot of traffic towards the front there. They're trying to clear things out and get into a system, but stall count must be rising here. Petrancourt stands still and gets the reset. Chrysophilio is too far out in front.
Yeah, Petrancourt, I'm not sure I've seen him in the reset space too many times for Mooncatchers, so maybe playing a little bit out of position there.
Still would be frustrated that he wasn't able to complete that one. The wind picking up ever so slightly, so you wonder if that had an effect.
It shouldn't have at this level, Benji.
Criddle to Spears. Deep shot goes, had to go. Cam Weir on a line. Doesn't take the little dish to Elliot Edwards. I think wary of a certain Dan de Marais lurking. Spears, a couple of yards away. Trying to find an isolation in the end zone, not seeing it. Weir clears through. Chrysophilio on the ground, but Chev can't take advantage. Thought there might be the little space inside, but no, instead dished off to Spears, and had Spears established himself in field before he took off and caught that? That's the question I think that's being asked here. Because if he comes straight from the outside the pitch and then comes in before he re-established himself, he would technically be out of bounds. But I think they're saying, actually, you know what? Fine, okay. Just asking the question. Still Chev possession. Deleuze very close on that mark. But Spears breaks around, tries to get the horizontal space. Criddle feathers to Spears, and Spears to Elliot Edwards for the score, his third of the game.
Yeah, lovely patience there from Chevron Action Flash, just to pop that one in. Good discussion had. We'll get perhaps not quite another look at that Spears controversy, going out of bounds and then re-establishing himself back inside the pitch, but happy to play on and through it. Spears, of course, formerly of Smog Ultimate.
Was indeed one of the founders, I think. Of course, Smog, so long a mixed powerhouse from the northeast of the country, although they, like their frequent foes, have gone the single gender route this season.
Indeed, and it'd be interesting to see how that all pans out. Both dropped out of Windmill tournament, having been allocated spaces, so curious on that one. But yeah, Spears also involved in quite a lot of coaching, if I recall correctly, back in the day. Sort of took charge of some of the under-24 programs. Yeah,
a program that he came through, represented GB under-23 as it was then, mixed in London in 2015. I know he's done coaching with GB Women as well, and up in the northwest with University of Central Lancashire, I think. I believe that's right. He'll correct me at some point if he watches this, I'm sure.
If I didn't know any better, Benji, I'd say you were someone who goes on lots of quizzes with the depth of knowledge you have.
Not anymore. I don't really leave the house much. But there was a time when, yes, I did.
Ben Yonker is coming off the field, being replaced by Dan de Marais. A little bit of a stumble there. Hopefully he'll be all right.
Yeah, just feeling his right ankle a little bit. But hopefully just a twinge, maybe he rolled it slightly and nothing more. It's never nice to see players have to come off injured. Carclinch catches the DeLuca blade. DeLuca, oh, I thought he'd be able to get that, but he wasn't, and this is a gift really for Chevron. Quick pickup on the end zone line. Backhand break around into the hands of Haynes. And Chevron are closing it once more. They are determined to make a game of this.
They really are, Benji. The slow start from their O-line was a bit disconcerting. Well, that one just bobbled out. There you go, ground strip from DeLuca there. He did have disc in hand, but just couldn't quite hold on. But I love that quick attack. Was that Williams that picked up the disc? Pretty sure it was.
It was indeed. So an assist now to go along with a couple of blocks he got earlier. He's been huge for Chevy's D-line.
I mean, he always is. There's a reason why he was able to do the double. under 24 and Open seniors representation in the same season, getting that call up. He's been playing Ultimate for longer than half his lifespan.
He's only 23.
He is only 23.
Honestly, they start them so young, and that's brilliant. That's exactly what you want to see. I think. I appreciate that I have a slightly vested interest in this as a Brit, but I think at times maybe they've not had the same pipeline transitioning talent all the way from schools through the youth teams up to senior level, but it's good to see players like Williams making it stick.
It's really interesting to see how you can encourage players, especially when you have a small youth scene. How do you keep things meaningful when they are a lot better than some of the other people they might be competing against?
You see a lot in other sports where people play up a couple of age divisions just to make sure that you're kind of getting that quality of competition. Ben Hall flies through on the bid, doesn't get there, but does get Matthew Muller.
Well, that's the second tender ankle we're seeing for Mooncatchers. Unpleasant to see this one come out of contact. But Muller staying on his feet on that sideline, which is always promising.
Yeah, they are going to sub on Chicago Paulie, as he was famously called in an interview last year. Paul Arters. That one, no, it's too far out in front of Blassman. And that substitution evidently did not work as Mooncatchers had planned.
Not sure I'd say too far, just didn't think about it in time.
And the deep shot on the money for Chevron. And it's another 3-point run, and they're level again. It's 8. That's the way to start the second half from a Chevy perspective.
Well, Benji, what a rhythm this game is starting to shape out. We haven't had anyone pecking little breaks. It's all been about trying to grab momentum of this game. But Mooncatchers are still that nose in front. They have the advantage that they got by winning the toss and starting this game on offense. As we'd assume, of course, strange things do happen. Sometimes teams do pick defense.
I think people know the official, unofficial Ulti TV stance on this.
Backing yourself is nice, but giving yourself the ability to win a game if everything is level, yeah, that's much better.
Nicer.
Yeah. There are no guarantees in Ultimate, and fundamentally, the offense has the advantage. We were talking about this actually with some of the Moon Cup players who were kindly giving us some guided tours. Out of a Harley, big shout out, teaching us the ways of the Belgian waffle with no topping.
Sometimes you don't need it.
It's a huge move.
Power
Highly
play.
recommend. But yeah, talking about how actually the Moon Cup players are playing against some of the young lads for Mooncatchers. And we were talking about the fact that the offense has an advantage, and fundamentally, if you can play against players who have a physical advantage, it makes you better in your frisbee IQ.
So Mooncatchers trying to prevent Chevron getting their first lead of the game. Ort rips it. He's looking for car clinch. Oh, bang on the money from Ben Ort. Would you expect anything else? Ort to Clark clinch. How do you stop that? 9-8.
I have some ideas. They involve a crowbar and things that you cannot do legally.
All right, Tonya Harding, settle down.
No, it is a thing of beauty watching those two gentlemen connect. Car clinch, of course, had a slightly controversial call during the Tom's Tourney final. If you've not watched that game back yet, highly recommend that you do so. An instant classic, as the kids say. But keeping things interesting here, Mooncatchers just holding on. It's been a little while since their O-line was turned over more than once. So they're going to have to just think about the recovery when those mistakes and errors do happen.
Demarais wrenching the disc deep from the pool, curling it back in bounds, well fielded. First pass goes to Spears. Kime wants the return and he gets it as well. to Spears. Criddle double cuts into the centre. Mooncatchers defenders flood the space and Criddle goes flying, but he comes up trumps. Sweetenham now. To Kime. Just looking to steady the offence. Elliot Edwards centres. Sweetenham pointedly gets it around and then Colt Hammer slides. So you're going to try and squeeze it down the line to Kime. No, instead Spears. Couple of slightly dicey passes this possession and then a bit of creativity from Colt Hammer, and Spears is going to follow it up as well. A couple of times they've pulled that trick. The traffic floods to the front of the end zone and there's a player just leaking his way towards the back. Elliot Edwards this time again, and that's 9s.
I'm really enjoying, Benji, the way that Chevy are being pushed but also responding to the call from this Mooncatchers defence. That overall final pass, yes, much easier after some smart spacing on the pitch, but the flexibility with which these athletes are happy to play, you know, they're not just role monkeys. They're not just saying, oh, I'm the end zone person, oh, I'm the, you know, deep cutter, I'm the undercutter. They are truly rotating through and doing so with relative ease. Shout out to some of the catchers, though, really having to play on the outer edges of their offense, and that is what a good defense will do to you. They will make you move out of your preferred roles because, frankly, you know, Cody Elliott Edwards, we've talked about it quite repeatedly. You want to see that dude in the end zone. Cam Ware, you want to see that guy heading towards the deep space and ripping people to shreds.
And I always think the best teams are those outfits where you've got players who can do multiple things, because it makes it so much harder as a defender to work out what's my job here, what am I doing, because you think, well, this guy's going to handle. It's easy. I'll just push him under, and then no, you don't. As ripped again. Muller this time is the target, and Muller tracks it exquisitely for the score.
Yeah, I mean, at this level, Benji, every athlete on the field has multiple tools in the set.
They do, yes.
But it's about your defense and how they can kind of anticipate and shut that down. I think at the moment, the Mooncatchers, they do spend a lot of time reviewing tape, sort of, you know, getting the cheat sheets going. Pierre Alain, not here today, watching remotely from work.
I respect the commitment. One of the best coaches in the business, and I'm sure he'll be messaging the group saying, "Oh, we noticed this, and
exactly.
have you thought about making this adjustment? Here's what you could do better."
So the assignments are always there. They always know exactly who they're supposed to be shutting down, how that player likes to play, what their typical, you know, preferred A route is. And so I think that is that kind of advantage at the moment for Mooncatchers defense. Whereas on their O-line, they are getting still enough points where they're getting exactly what they want, and that last possession was a perfect example.
Chevron again trying to string together back-to-back holds for only the second time this game. Demarais, you could see him close in, but not quickly enough. Weir. Demarais flashes into the lane. And they swing around, now Sweetenham. Sending Hannum off the back. It'll give go. Moving it quickly, this is good from Chevron, really good. Hannum now. Wants to try and get it off that sideline and does to Hodgett. Criddle with the hammer towards the far side, bang on the money. We've talked about how there's not really that much wind, and that means that these overheads are such an enticing proposition, especially that close in the red zone. And it's Cody Elliott Edwards again, and it's 10 apiece. That was great from Chevron.
Well, now you talk about the idea of the low wind allowing the overhead releases. I mean, that thrown with good pace and attention, even with a little bit of breeze going on, happy days. That's a really nice option to take. But what I want to talk about is the getaway offense being really lovely, but some of those passes, Benji, a little bit skew-iff. There was a moment where Hodgett had to really rip down one that was sort of fluttering like the wings of a delicate butterfly, sort of, you know, on this lovely spring sunny day. But in a slightly windier condition, that's going to be a much harder ask. So it's lovely to see the connections, the timing, the flow. What I would love to see from Chevy a little bit more when they are in that kind of fast pace, really solid. I mean, so many good things to talk about, but if I'm asking for an improvement for extra credit, a little bit more attention to some of the releases on the throws, just to make me feel a little bit more secure and solid in their offense.
I think DeLuca watches that one just drop out of the back of the end zone, so Ben Yonkers will bring it to the brick mark. 10 apiece we sit here. In the other game in this pool going on, behind us, Lafota lead Alba, an understrength Alba, it has to be said, 12-4. That one's got one camera, Alti TV coverage, John Dock on the remote commentary. And in Pool A, it's 10 apiece between Gentle and Jet Set, and 10 apiece between Clapham and Wall City as well. Both those have the VO footage. Clapham Wall City is without remote commentary. Merritt Trapp is providing commentary on Gentle and Jet Set. It's delighted to be able to welcome Doc and Merritt to the team this weekend, some albeit remotely. And a little bit of monkey see, monkey do for Moon. You can hammer it. Well, so can we.
Well, we love a bit of swaz on a live stream. We do. That was really lovely flow. Not quite the same one pass score. So I think we talked about sort of, you know, Moon doing a good job of taking away option A, the initial playbook for their opponents. So Chevron doing a great job in that instance as well. I think a couple of players, you know, it wasn't quite the 2-3 pass score action. Still, though, very rapid, moving it well.
There is something that would worry me, though, if I'm supporting Chevron in this one, and that's that Ben Ort is really starting to cook now. That's his 5th assist of the game. When he's on song, you generally are in trouble.
Yeah, you can squeeze that bloke into all sorts of spaces. He's not the tallest athlete on Mooncatchers O-line by any stretch of the imagination. They have some big old dudes. But,
yeah, they do.
But just such a creative thrower. Just the way he sees the game is really, really enjoyable. And of course, coming off the back of a very successful season in North America last year.
Yeah. US national champion with truck stop as a beaut of a pull lands right at the back of the end zone. Fortunately for Hodgett, it then bounces out so he can walk it to the front, but that was just inches away from perfection. Perfection we've seen, by the way, on the last 5 points, no turns from either side. Hodgett looking a little bit isolated, zings the hammer to Criddle, winds up, but goes short instead. Why not? If the soft spot's there, he's going to take it. Hodgett clears through. Criddle looking a little bit isolated, but Weir unveils himself on the near side. One lefty to another with Colt Hammer. Colt Hammer looking for Elliot Edwards. Can he get position? Demarais goes over the top, and it drops into Elliot Edwards' bucket anyway.
There's a 3-word phrase I'm thinking of, Benji. Do you know what my 3-word phrase is?
Something to do with ensuring your receptions defensively. Is that the one?
Catch your D's!
Ah, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
You can see Dandon Murray has position. He makes connection with the disc first. It would be so much easier to just catch your D, and then you secure the fact that your opponent's not going to score. But great credit to Cody Edwards, just keeping their heads up and making sure that every opportunity was taken, and that one will put it in the bank. 11 apiece.
This is a really fun, engaging, entertaining game, and it's lovely when you have a contest like this and you look at it and you salivate a little bit, and it comes, and then you watch it and it actually lives up to the hype.
Well, I have to say, haven't always been the hugest fan of Chevron Action Flash across the decades that they've been in existence, but Nouveau Chevy, I'm a huge fan.
I've definitely thrown shade their way at points, and they're now consistently throwing it back in my face, which I love. And Roshery Williams again, his 3rd poach block. He's on an absolute tear. Chevy can take their first lead of the game. Chevy will take their first lead of the game.
Mate, regen Chev, all about it. Rodri Williams.
Yes. That kid. Again. he's on an absolute tear. He's just been so switched on defensively. Anytime something floats, anytime the spacing's off, he sees the space, he flashes in there, and he's got his just rewards on a couple of occasions. That time punches it in as well. Double happiness with the assist to back up the D. Rodri Williams now 2 assists. Another block, just continues to rack them up. He has been the difference so far in this one. 3 blocks, 2 assists, and Ben Tennant finished it off with the score. Although if he hadn't, Robbie Haynes was there as well. That's the appetite Chevron have, and for the first time, they've taken the lead.
Well, Chevy really are a very legit outfit. Of course, UK national champions last season finally stole that reputation off of Clapham with a fantastic final that was very entertaining to watch indeed. Didn't have the easiest time in Wrocław later on in the season. Of course, they finished up 6th overall at EUCF last year, but they are very legit, and I think have just bolstered themselves coming into this season. They were looking good, even with their slightly not like a semi-skimmed milk, but definitely not the full fat squad last weekend. So shape of things to come for sure, as we see huge scenes from Dan Demarais.
At this point, it doesn't even surprise you. Demarais putting the trigger, looking for Carclinch towards the far sideline. I don't know if Carclinch has a shot at it. Well, he caught it, and I think he was maybe hoping that there was a potential greatest attempt, but he saw that there was not. And Chevron are dialing up the pressure now. We know that they've had the ability to do it in Europe, although not for a long time. I think it's about 15 years since they've captured their only EUCF, and it was very humorous that for a long time they'd won Euros, but not UK nationals. Great for them to finally get that monkey off their back. And now they're demonstrating, look, we've got that confidence, we've got that belief. We are going to be right there at the thick end of things, at the thick end of the season. At the moment, though, struggling a little bit to get out of their own end zone. And Mooncatchers have forced the timeout from Chevron. 12-7. The Brits, 12-7, 12-11 even. The Brits lead here. Second half ticking away, live from Leuven. Chevron 12, Mooncatchers 11. The first time Chevron have led in this contest. And Chevron have a chance to extend their advantage, but they're in a slightly perilous possession here. The long-time Chevy vet, Mark Penny, having to take a timeout in his own end zone after the turn. And Mooncatchers might get themselves a chance for a short field. Benji Rees and Hannah Pendlebury delighted to be with you at the Elite Invite in Leuven. Haynes slashes through, and miscommunication. Ben Hall left it. I'm not sure why. I think he saw people behind, and Mooncatchers can take advantage here of the turnout. DeLuca, Carclinch, back to Demarais, and see how quickly they pick up. They want the throw and go. Force sags off slightly just to dissuade it. An almost nonchalant flip there. Back to DeLuca. Chevy trying to pin them on the far sideline. And the foot up, the toe drag successfully achieved by Ben Yonkers. It's 12s.
Well, slightly messy towards the end there, but nice to see Daddy Longlegs, Ben Yonkers, using those legs to full effect. Also nice that he's back on the field. Of course, he did take that injury substitution with that slightly tender ankle action. Solid bracketing, though, from Chevy. Playing good red zone defense there. This is quite the different result from the last time these two teams met. That was a 15-8 scoreline in favour of Mooncatchers back at Wrocław. That was the quarter-finals at EUCF. Certainly a enjoyable game between those two.
And of course, we can't forget about the Chevron versus Mooncatchers encounter the year before. Went to sudden death in the pool. Chevy coming out on the right side of things. One of those weird games where there was a are they, aren't they trying to win it because of the way the bracket shook out.
Oh gosh, yeah, let's not talk about that.
And I think, yeah, enough's been written and said about that over the years. There is one particular pointed quote from Matt Bevan that I will not repeat on air, but I must admit, it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard about a game.
I think you should say it, mate.
No, it's not. It's a little bit blue, I will say.
Maybe on the Alti TV after hours.
Sure. Here's Hodgett looking towards the back of the end zone. Oh, Criddle's going to run out of room. A rare misstep from Hodgett. The range just not there at all. Arters will pick up to get Moon back on top and back on serve. 12 apiece. There's the deep shot. Car clinch goes up, and that's good work from Cam Weir to force the block. Well, didn't get a piece of it, but he did force Car clinch out of position, and that's all he needed to do.
Yeah, and forced him to go up very early as well. Oftentimes you'll see defenders go up miles too soon, but that one, because of the close body position, very nice defense.
That's the thing as a defender, you don't necessarily have to get it, just as long as the offense doesn't. Colt hammer to Hodgett. Little dish to Sweetenham. Pick potentially? He's going to stay in Sweetenham's hands, they've decided. Sweetenham to Hodgett. Sure, he'd be desperate to make amends, but generally a pretty level-headed guy, so just be thinking about taking the open option, making good decisions. It's weird, dishes off to Sweetenham. Sweetenham sees the space, sees the blade, good vision there, finds Cam Weir, and Chevron wasn't clean, but they did get the hold.
Yeah, bookends there for Cameron Weir. Really, again, I'm so enjoying the way that Chevy space themselves out on their red zone offense. They don't kind of try and create a giant stack of 6 people in the end zone. They really are mindful of where each other are, and that is what is making those final passes oftentimes in this game so very, very easy. Of course, Cam Weir, the youngster, just 20 years old, enjoying himself a appearance here at the Elite Invite. Of course, Chevron were present in Bern last season, that absolute howler of a windy Swiss venue.
Oh yes, I remember now. Just opposite the Wankdorf Stadium, the home of the Young Boys Football Club.
Yes, indeed. We are, of course, delighted to be back at the Elite Invite level, where every game is just a banger.
I mean, that's the whole point, is the 8 best teams theoretically in each division going at it blow for blow, establishing that early season dominance. And yes, there's also the little tempter of those wild cards as well.
Yeah, I know lots of people don't like it, and they would be very upset if their seasons were like this, but I am a big fan of a championship 8-team format.
Going deep or try to come and sneak round, or did Williams. He looks slightly frustrated, but I think just a tangle of feet, nothing more, and Ort catches the score.
Yeah, really solid setup. You can see Kirklinch wind up. Beautiful flick release. Same third huck, and Ort doesn't even look down at the player on his feet, but that will be enough for the hold. So 13 apiece, maximum 4 points left in this game, and by all accounts it'll be a game to 15 regardless the soft cap, because the 80-minute time slot's here in Leuven.
Yeah, so we finish this point, in which case it'll be 14-13, not sure which way, but it will be, and then add one to the highest score and that'll be the new score cap. So you are correct that it will be 15, game to 15, 80-minute games in 95-minute rounds. So the next one starts at 12 local time, so about 18 minutes away, our first mixed action of the day. The winner of the elite invite in each division grabs themselves a wild card, as do the winners of the summer invites that take place later in the year, just like an extra last-ditch incentive. So that's 4 wildcard spots in mixed and women's and 6 in open. Elliot Edwards, a little bit low, but not a problem for Hannum. Hodgett looking down the line, looking for Weir. Weir was wide open. Who was on him? Chevy don't care. It's 14-13.
So game point number 1. It's been a little while since we've had a run of breaks, but it's not going to be needed at this stage in the game.
Yeah, with the exception of the other game in this pool at the moment, Lafont are up big on Alba behind us on the Ulti TV single cam stream with John Dock on comms. That's 14-6 last score update I saw. It's 13 apiece between Gentle Jet Set, that one VO Cam Merit Trap on comms, and 13 apiece between Clapham and Wall City. Again, that game is on the VO AI Cam, but no comms on that one this weekend.
And the roving cam has arrived on the sidelines, which can only mean good things for the health of our technical setup.
Yeah, be able to get those, live reactions, really get to feel it out there with the players.
The glamour shots.
Yonkers to Desmarais. Desmarais just about has Bontemps in space. Very tight to the sideline. Turner tries to set up a trap. Yonkers powers his way past. Finds the seam, goes cross-field. Oh, we'll get a lot of room now. Looking towards the back. Desmarais got it, and we've got Universe.
Yes! Love to see Universe point finishes. I think this will be our second of the day. I mean, that's the shape of our brains right now.
I mean, that's exactly what you want at Elite Invite, isn't it? And it's almost what you'd expect. So little to separate these teams, and that is proven out here on the pitch. 14-14, game to 15, sudden death, Universe, next goal wins.
All right.
Gotta love it.
So who are we getting out on this power D line? Looks like a Kirklinch pull across, perhaps, which makes sense. Big old Latvian man. So that would be double duty for Latvians.
Yeah, just gonna have a look at who we've got for Chevy as well. Seems like Callum Spears is out there. Can see Sam Criddle, Cam Weir. Just Cody Elliott Edwards again. This looks like just like a standard O-line really for Chevron. They're treating this as, we're just going to go march it down, put it in, no problem.
Hold on, have they not got Rodri Williams on the pitch?
They do not.
Oh, that's a bad clipboard. Bad clipboard.
I can see Vandenbroek out there, Blasman.
Yeah, Ort, Bontemps, Abeltinch. Yep, solid.
And of course, a certain Dan Desmarais.
Very exciting, very lemon exciting.
Can Chevron keep their cool? Can Moon find it? Oh, that pass asks a lot of time, and it's asked too much of him. Mooncatchers will get it right on the end zone. That could not have gone worse for Chevy.
Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I was really looking forward to a long, drawn-out point of tussling, but I think just that little bit too much a mental game, maybe. That doubt weighing heavy on the shoulders of Chevy.
Ort will pick up right on that front cone. Can they force their way over? Oh, the little sneak through Ort to Desmarais as it was last point. And Moon capture it, breaking on Universe. The sudden death 15-14. What a game, what a win.
But what a finish. I mean, oh, Benji, I'm so sad. That game started off really just Chevron getting shaken around like a martini in a cocktail bar. And then suddenly they found their form. They started getting those breaks back. They just were really in it. And then that last point, Benji, we deserved more. But hey, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you get. It's a little bit of that Moon effect that we're starting to see have that mental impact on teams. Kime has been so solid during that game, but just could not quite come up with the bid after that overthrow. But hats off to Mooncatchers, a deserved win. They held their mettle and pushed through in the last moments.
That is why they are one of the favourites, not just this weekend, but all season, to capture their first EUCF crown when we reach the big dance in the autumn. But now they've put a good foot forward to capturing the Elite Invite crown for the second year running. Final score here in the Open Division is Mooncatchers 15, Chevron 14. Don't go anywhere, there's so much action to come here at the Elite Invite. We're into our first mixed division action. Next round up here on this showcase pitch, we've got Reading from the UK up against Nullacht from Germany. But there's also on the one camera coverage, Manchot versus Lemmings, and from the VO streams, Deep Space take on Tartu Turbulence. I think that one's going to be a very spicy matchup. And Seskidistus are up against Disconnection. So much coverage to come here from the Elite Invite, and on behalf of all our colleagues here, we will see you on the other side for some mixed division action.
I can't breathe if it isn't you and I won't make it without you by my side. I can walk, can't stand, can't talk, can't fly without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you. I don't care what the others say, and I still think of you night and day, and yeah, I've lost my way, I can't walk, can't stand, can't talk, can't fly without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you.